Well, hello, our friends. Here we are today. We're with Betsy Ballard with the Ballard Agency, which is located in Centerbrook,
Mhm.
which is the village of Essex. How are you today, Bets?
I'm great. A little cold, but I'm good. All is good
Well,
here.
we're coming into Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and with Thanksgiving comes cooking meals. And so this is where we felt this was a perfect time to hide from the kitchen. So here we are.
That's right.
So, Betsy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company? I mean, so you're a local agent, which is look, she's got a telephone number right here,
Mhm.
and you can talk to you, which
Mhm.
is a problem with insurance, right? I
Mhm.
mean, when you there's so many 800 numbers, and we all think we're getting a good deal. Why?
Mhm.
Why? How about that? Why do you think I should change my insurance or have my policy looked at by you?
Mhm. Well, I think I take a different approach. Many agencies, or most importantly, the 800 numbers, the artificial intelligence, they'll just take your address and your zip code and give you an average. And that can go for your commercial policy or your your homeowner's policy. And I actually go through your house. I find out about your roof, your flooring, your countertops, if you have any special features to make sure you have the right kind of coverage, but
Right,
also try to find you the best rate.
right,
The insurance industry is changing tremendously. 2024 is going to be a tough year nationwide because of so many claims from fires and hurricanes and tornadoes and flooding. It's been really rough. A lot of
right.
carriers are really tightening up. And
I've heard that.
mhm,
I've heard especially of Florida, the hurricanes and all the other
mhm,
kind of disasters that we've had around the country, that some places are getting completely zapped off. So, but
right.
it's not, that would never happen here where we are. But what we would what we're really looking to do here is to really help people,
Mhm,
because everyone, it's sort of like real estate, right? You can just easily go online and you can just punch your numbers in,
correct.
and then you can find out what your house is worth. That's not how you do it. And the
Right,
same is with real, with being in insurance. I
right.
mean, because with policies, I mean, you can sometimes pay more and still not have the coverage.
Correct. Correct. There's a lot of terminology that is a little tricky where you might think you have really good coverage, but actually you could have a policy with actual cash value, which means everything you own would be depreciated if you have a loss. So it's important to understand that terminology, make sure you have the right kind of liability and enough liability,
Right.
especially if you're someone that has a business and you own a home. You want to make sure that your business has the right kind of liability and enough, and it's separate from your homeowner's policy, and that kind of nugget in your life home or your lifestyle. And the other thing that's important to have is something called personal injury. Personal injury is not you physical damage or physical pain or whatever. It has to do with defamation and slander, which our
Right.
world is really,
Yeah.
unfortunately, in that kind of downward spiral with everyone on TikTok recording everything.
Yeah.
So it's important to make sure you have the correct coverage, and it doesn't cost anything. You're welcome to come into my office.
So with that,
Yeah.
just talking about contractors, because sometimes I'm an independent contractor. My husband's an independent contractor. And one of the things we learned very early on was regarding his company vehicle. Maybe you could explain a little bit, matter if you're a plumber, electrician, or, or
Mhm.
sheetrocker, and you have your own vehicle,
Correct.
but you have your own business. How does that work?
Well, it's important to have the correct kind of policy on the vehicle. You want to, again, have the right coverage to replace the vehicle if something happens. If you have your tools in the vehicle, you want to make sure you have your tools covered as well. And you want to make sure you have the right kind of deductibles. And again, back to liability. You want to make sure you have enough liability. The more you own, the higher the liability you should have, because if you have a problem, they're going to go after your assets. And you want to make sure you're really protected, and then add an umbrella on there as well. And that goes along with workers' compensation. With your all four of them. You have your GL, your workers' comp, your auto policy, and your umbrella. So it's important to have all of those in the right combination to make sure you have a robust policy.
Right. So with that, anybody listening in right now, I mean, we are talking about so many different things, because we're talking about both residential and we're talking about commercial. And what is great is Betsy being right in Essex, right around the corner here. She's so accessible. She has an actual real office. You can go in and meet with her, since some people don't have their real offices. But I think the thing is, with 2024, the whole climate is going to change.
Correct.
Regarding the whole industry. And don't you, what's your feeling about getting locked in or having somebody review your policy now?
Right. Well, I think it's important to take a peek at it now. It doesn't matter what timeline you are in with your policy. It doesn't matter if it expires in June or November of next year or whatever. It's important to try to get in now and have a review to see if we can tweak it, because 2024 nationwide, they are expecting about a 30% increase in all insurance. And that has to do with all the claims, in addition to the cost to repair things are so much more than they used to be. Right. So that's really important. And, some of the bigger clients I will go out and visit them. I will go on site, meet you at your office. I have some people that are different demographic where perhaps they don't drive too often. And I have no problem, stopping by and making an appointment to go to their home as well. Right. So, and it is important, especially with the business, for me to go on site, because I'll need to see, the building. Even if you lease it, it's important to know, how you protect your own personal property. If you go in and you don't take care of your tools, it might not be a good fit. We want to make sure we're protecting
What
you.
is really interesting, just listening to you speak, is you're talking about all this hands-on stuff. I go into your house, I'm looking at your flooring, I'm looking at your countertops, you're talking about someone's business, and you're talking about their tools and their work site or whatever it may be. And that's the difference with working with somebody who is local compared to, just some fly by night that has an 800 number,
Correct.
So
very true.
Okay. So the cool thing is, if someone's policy, even if they just renewed their policy, it's still fine to now recheck. Right.
Absolutely.
And if they paid, then money gets credited. Does that all? I don't know how that all works.
Usually that's what it is. Once in a while, some of the very high premium policies, there's a minimum earned premium, but typically that's about 90 days. Right. So, and it could take, if it's a bigger policy, it could take that long to underwrite it anyway. So there are definitely ways to work with that, and certainly don't want anyone spending more than they need to. The goal is to spend less and have better coverage. And so, again, it doesn't cost anything.
Where actually is the Ballard Agency located? I did say Essex, which is Village of Centerbrook, but where actually are you located?
We're in Spencer's Corners. We're right here where there's an eye doctor and a dentist and a music studio or school, and Savor, that lovely cafe. So I'm in between Cumberland Farms and Essex Elementary School.
Right. And so across the street is Centerbrook Architects, correct?
Oh, yes, correct.
Yeah. So actually I frequent at that lovely pizza joint there, Centerbrook Pizza.
Oh, nice.
My old stopping ground.
Nice. It's a great area. Yeah, so we're here Monday through Friday. We are sometimes off-site visiting other clients.
Sure.
So, give us a call, send an email, whatever works for you, and be happy to make time for you to review any of your coverages.
So, of course, people have all their children are getting their licenses and stuff like that, which is always dreadful for a parent, because then it kind of changes the whole footprint of what they're actually, the whole insurance policy there. So with that too, I mean, that is something you can review and confirm they have the right
Absolutely.
coverage.
Correct.
Or
Umbrella,
like,
umbrella, umbrella when you have a child that's driving.
Yeah.
Very important. You know, accidents happen. They, you know, they mean well. Maybe they're, you know, a little excited. They're not, they grab their phone when they're not supposed to. They could cause some damage. You want to make sure your assets are protected if they make that error. And
Right.
with that, the statistics are higher with young drivers, so premiums are higher.
Right.
So I would like to, you know, one thing with my agency, I have several carriers, so I can kind of, you know, cherry pick the best from each product and still try to put it together where you get the multi-policy discount. Again,
Right.
trying to save you money.
Right. And it's very easy to find you. Your office is all centrally located. The last name, Ballard, very easy. And if you
Right.
heard what she just said, that she does work with several other carriers. So if, you know, it's not like you go to Betsy and she has one product. I mean, I think, not to talk about other companies, but some of them I think are pretty restricted
Right.
of, and then you're not able, which is true of real estate with mortgage officers. I mean,
Right.
sometimes you go into a bank, they only have a couple programs for people. You know, you
True.
work with a dedicated mortgage officer, they have like 25 programs to put people in.
Correct.
And that's kind of where you are too, more so having a lot of programs instead of just the individual one.
Correct. And we have not just personal lines, commercial lines. We also have life insurance, and we do Medicare, and we do marine. So we have pretty much anything you need to insure, we can find coverage for you.
Motorcycles, all the
Motorcycles,
above.
tiny house, motorhome, I don't know, golf cart, it's all kinds of things. I insured a horse once. That was pretty cool. But
See, I don't know if everyone's getting the energy, but you just love what you do. And it's like being an accountant. Some people just love all those numbers and all those little slots. For me, like I get itchy, you know?
yeah.
But it's the same with you with really the insurance. I mean, you just love it. I mean, it's just a passion for you.
Yeah. I kind of geek out with it. I do. But, you know, I think it stems from about maybe 10 years ago or so. I had a house fire, and
Oh,
it was
see, you've lived it.
unsolicited. It was the exhaust fan in the bathroom. There was a known electrical issue with this brand, and my house caught on fire. And lived at the Marriott with my kids and my giant dog and two cats, and a little school bus would pull up and pick my kids up for school. But I learned a lot. I learned about the process. I learned what coverages I thought I had and didn't have because I didn't understand the difference. And it was awful. Of course, any, you know, major catastrophic event is awful. But, you know, I had to buy 3 beds and all the mattress pads and the pillows and the things you don't think of that really, really add up. And the things they were able to save, I think it was, and they had to clean. So that was like area rugs and some of the clothing they washed. That bill alone was $17,000. I
Wow.
think it was kind of like squished up by the company. I'm not sure. It seems kind of ridiculous, but it was a lot. I mean, it was a whole van, and you know, I think I had 4 area rugs that survived but were cleaned. So it's things
crazy.
you don't think about.
Yeah, and it just gives you that much more experience of just looking at someone's policy to really make sure they are covered and have. Because you find holes all the time, don't you find holes all the time?
Absolutely. I had a contractor call me. He's like, just, you know, Betsy, just look, just take a peek. Talk to my wife. I can't deal with it, but just take a look.
Yeah.
He had 0 coverage for any of his tools, and he didn't have collision on his expensive company vehicle.
Wow.
So he thought he was getting, you know, a great deal because it's, you know, wasn't very expensive. And he was in trouble. Something happened.
Right.
So it's scary because that's when you see the GoFundMe on Facebook when someone doesn't have enough insurance.
Right. Right.
Mhm. And it
Well,
also goes for, renters. We're going into the winter, pipes break, things happen. If you don't have renter's insurance, who are you going to stay with
right,
if you can't stay in your apartment? There's
right.
something called loss of use, and that covers a hotel, or if it's long term for a homeowner, it would rent them another house while their
So this
home is
is
being repaired.
Yeah. So, okay. So, just hitting on that subject, you have all these college kids that are renting, they're at whatever university, college, whatever. So should they be having renters insurance? I mean, if it's not affiliated, of course, with the school. I mean, say it's
Right.
off campus
Right.
housing and they're, which both my kids did that,
Mhm.
but
Well, sometimes part of your homeowner's policy will cover their personal property,
right,
but as far as like a place to live, or a larger claim, if they
right,
lose everything, it gets a little in the gray area. And renter policies are not expensive considering what you get for it if
right.
you have a claim.
Yeah. I mean,
So my son's going, one's in college, one's heading to college in the fall of 2024. They have renters policies. I just
right,
want them to make sure they're covered, because what if
right,
they have to go stay in a hotel? They live far away. They can't come
right,
home. They still have
right.
to go to school. So, and they're negotiated rates with the hotels. So it's not like you have to go on, Google and find the Marriott or
Right.
Sheraton Hilton or whatever.
Yeah.
The claims person really holds your hand. And also another important thing with having a local agent is that I help you also. I connect you with the claims adjuster. And if you have any problems or questions, you can call me directly. And some of the other companies, there's no one to call. You just call the
Right.
800 number.
It's the
Mhm.
800. And so really that's just wrapping up. I mean, that's where what you're willing to do. I mean, 'tis the season. Some people are still busy. Some people you're looking at all your policies or looking at your expenses. This is a time for a free review, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now's the time. And I'm not, I do the same thing for myself, actually. I
Right.
review my own policies just to make sure the
Well, things
terminology
change.
didn't change, nothing's changed. And I even, farm it out. I see if I can find a better product for myself. I do the same thing every year and try to clean it up before the end of the year so I can try to have some of that savings for my
Well,
2023.
savings to like do other things like invest in properties.
There you go, from Jennifer Cornell.
That's
That's right.
that's my latest, stop buying stupid shit. Save
Absolutely.
your money. And
Yeah.
this is where, even with your insurance policy, look at your insurance policy. What do you have or you not have? And you can
Mhm.
either save yourself. Well, you gave a quote for it actually wasn't my buyer because I had the listing. And they had a quote for, I'm going to make up numbers because I don't think I need to have numbers, but they had a quote from their original people for like $5,000.
Mhm.
And you crunched numbers and actually made sure that everything was dotted and crossed.
Mhm.
And you were easily half of that.
I was. I was.
And,
Mhm.
so, and the thing is, you're half of that. And the question is, what other things did they have on there like that they don't need? It just is,
Correct.
I don't know. But,
Yeah,
the thing is,
over-insuring.
we all like, we like to work with somebody, like we like to call them and have an answer on the other end of the phone. And I can attest to Betsy, having referred her so many different times to my clients. She is just fantastic of like answering the phone, following up, and really taking it from the beginning to the end.
Thank you.
So it's really, it's so great to have you in our community. And Betsy is also involved in a women's organization. Maybe you want to bring that up real quick too.
Right. So actually, I'm a volunteer with 3 different organizations. One is Valley Shore Women's Club. We're a service organization along the shoreline. Our biggest thing we do is we raise money for scholarships for students within our community. And that's, I think, Chester, south to Westbrook, Old Lyme, Old Saybrook,
Right.
Essex,
It's a whole Middlesex. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that's nice. I'm also with Live and in Color. It's a lovely theater group. They produce an original musical and play every year, and that is just phenomenal. They're from New York City, but they also produce right here in Salem, Connecticut, and it really helps with diversity in the theater and the arts. And that's phenomenal. And the other one I'm involved in is Hope Partnership. We build affordable housing for people along the shoreline here. There's one here in Spencer's Corners. There's one in Old Saybrook, and we broke ground in Madison. Yay! So very excited about that.
Yeah.
Really just building communities where people can live in the same community that they work in, because it's, not really affordable for people that have, good careers, but they're not at an elevation as other people that can buy the $1 million house.
Right.
I can't buy $1 million house.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, you can if we keep working it, girl.
Well,
I'm going to end it here. But
Great.
The ending there of you explaining just how involved you are in the community.
Mm-hmm.
You're a trusted professional, and we're just so lucky for the organization. Well, the organizations are lucky to have you, but I'm just so lucky to have you in my network. And so for anybody who just wants a free review, just send her the paperwork, give her a call, and get it going. So anything else you want to add?
Nope, I do it all. Home and your personal, commercial, Medicare, life, boat, marine. I do it all. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, folks, thank you. And you will be hearing back from us again here locally, just selling what we do. Talk soon.
Thanks.